Hey, so I feel like I'm gonna make this Car Talk Thursday video pretty short, partly because I didn't even realize it was Thursday. Like, there were parts of today where I was like, oh yeah, today's Wednesday. Parts of today where I thought it was Friday. I think I mostly thought it was Friday. So, like, an hour ago, I was like, oh, I actually have to sit and record. I do have a script. I've got my notes written for my Kuro review. I haven't recorded it yet. I'm probably just going to do that on my next day off, which I believe will be Saturday. So I'm not going to do any Trails Kazeki's talk today. A couple things. Number one, I think in my DreamWorks video, I talked about how I had watched all the Pixar movies that had come out, and I've seen all the animated Disney movies that have come out. I actually have a correction to make on both of those. Pixar completely forgot that Lightyear was a movie. 100%. I have not seen it. I don't really want to. I've heard it is just the perfect embodiment of a mid-movie. I'm going to see it eventually. I just haven't yet, and I have no real motivation to do so. I don't know if I've ever said it on one of my videos before. The moment I knew that this is not going to be a great movie is when the first trailer played Starman instead of Space Oddity. So I'm like, look at this. Like, you're going to pick a David Bowie song about space. Why don't you pick the one where it's actually about a guy going to space? Now, granted, depending on who you ask, it's actually a movie about getting high and just being super lost and everything. But the lyrics are literally about a dude going to space. And that is what the trailer is. Whereas Starman is about, hey, have you been listening to the radio? Yeah, there's this dude, and it was like, we're all gonna die apparently, but this guy can save us. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's actually seen them. She has a kid, so she's like, I've seen it multiple times at this point. When my kid likes a movie, I end up having to like the movie. She's like, Starman actually makes more sense, like, given the actual plot of the film. So maybe it's something I'll kind of have to go back on after seeing it. We'll see. But that means I have to see it first, and I guess. When it comes to Disney, apparently there's a new Disney movie out called Strange World, which I didn't know about till yesterday, the day before. Caught me completely off guard. And from what I understand, the reviews have not been good. It sounds like part of that might be it's being review bombed for being like a woke movie. Part of it also sounds like people who gave it a genuine shot are like, yeah, I mean, that part didn't bother me, but the movie's just not that great. So I think I'm probably going to wait for it to come to Disney Plus, and then I'll watch it. Which is kind of what I did for Lightyear, but it's been on Disney Plus for a while, and I still haven't watched it, but I don't know, we'll watch them eventually, but I thought I'd go ahead and correct that. Pokemon news. I gotta say something real quick. So I know the Charizard Terror Raid starts this evening, and I'm very excited for it. I've got my Laura, the Azumarill, level 100. She's got Belly Drum. We're ready to go. So unless Charizard has Solar Beam, which it's probably going to have Solar Beam, we're going to have a good time. But if it starts Solar Beaming my girl, I might be totally screwed. But we're going to do what we can. I would like to catch at least one of these things. I haven't completed the decks. I have like 12 Pokemon maybe they need to get, but I did catch the 4 legendaries. Number 1, their themes are amazing. Absolutely love it. And then Jose sent us like this remix of, I don't remember what the song was called, like Tunak Tunak, and like this Indian song, and it was a mashup between that and the legendary quartet theme. We're like, oh, this goes hard. I actually really dig this. But in addition to that, so I spent one night trying to catch one of them, like trying to catch the snail. Wasn't able to. Just wasn't getting in the ball. If you've played Pokemon trying to catch legendaries, you know what I mean. Sometimes you just have those sessions, like, and nothing's working, you struggle to death. And I remember making a comment where it's like, once it got to the struggle point, because there were several times you go, shake, 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 nope. And I was like, alright, he's made his choice that he would rather die than get in the ball. I get it. So then the next morning, like a little bit before work, I'm like, alright, let's try it again. So I send out Morton, who's my rock boy. Snail's effect comes in, lowers his attacks. I'm like, all right, use Stone Edge, try to get some damage in. Stone Edge crits. Snail has 1 health left. Then I throw a Dusk Ball because it's still night in my game. Boom, boom, boom. Caught. I was like, oh man, he changed his, I think I started with a Quick Ball act. No, I think I did go straight for the attack. But I thought it was really funny how last night it was that sense of, yeah, I would rather die than be killed. Literally the next day, no, death sucks, give me the fucking ball, man. Like, that was funny. The next thing I did was the saber-toothed tiger. So I throw a Quick Ball at it, and I immediately catch the thing. Like, man, I didn't even get to hear theme music. Come on, guys. It's a little disappointing. I mean, I'm glad it worked, but at least wanted the music to kick in. So that happened. The next one was the moose? Reindeer? Not exactly sure what it is. But, what are they? It's the tablet. I think, shoot, what's the tiger? I want to say the tiger's like a sword. Then it's the vessel or like a bowl. And then I think the fish is the beads. But so the moose also actually took me a little bit. I caught him in an Ultra Ball. I think I was really trying to get him in a Timer Ball, but it wasn't quite going. And I was like, I'll take the Ultra Ball. And then I realized I have these 3 all in different balls. I have to catch the fish. Like, I'm not even going to throw a Quick Ball at him because I don't want him in the same thing. Don't want him in an Ultra Ball. Don't want him in a Dusk Ball. All right, we're going to go for the Timer Ball. So the match starts, and I got Jane Henry My Tinkaton out. So I hit it with a Fake Out. Then I hit it with a Play Rough, forgetting that it's a Dark type, because these are all Dark types. I just remembered Fish is Fire. It's literally called Fire Scourge Shrine, which sounds badass. I love that. They're like, oh, he's going to resist it. Oh, shoot, he didn't resist it. Might be. Oh, but he has 1 health left. Okay. I mean, it's turn 3. Timer Ball's not going to work. I don't know. Let me throw a Pokeball. Let's just see what happens. What do you mean he got caught in a Pokeball? What do you mean it took 1 ball to catch this thing? The first night, I was like, man, these things might be kind of rough to catch. And then Clay and Jose are watching like, yeah, this might take a while. Like, you know, have fun with that shit. And then, yeah, they were all stupidly easy after that. But again, like, I think they look cool. I like them. Okay, the moose looks kind of weird to me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't hate it, but, like, I really like the fish. I really like the tiger. I really like the snail. This one's, this is all right. Music slaps, but, man, those were kind of anticlimactic by the end. See what else do I want to say? My Saints still suck. Scored no points against the 49ers. Just, really? Defense balled out. Like, they got the 13, they only gave up 13 points. But we scored none. Ugh. And we're still only 1 game out of the division lead, which means I still have to have hope. But Monday is, going to be a primetime game between the Saints and the Bucks. If we lose, we will be 2 games behind them in the standings. Plus they have the season sweep, which essentially makes it a 3-game lead. We're going to be on a bye week. I think our bye is right after. And then they can play another game and get a win to essentially go up to 4 games. So, this is the make or break game for the entire season. 100%. I mean, I guess, granted, there's some other bullshit that could happen if we were to lose, but for all intents and purposes, this is it. As I've been saying, you're not out of it till you're out of it, but the clock is ticking. This is about as close as you get to being officially out of it while still technically having numbers. We're minutes away from midnight. If we lose that game, like, cool. We are a terrible team. We have no hope of making the playoffs. And, congratulations, Eagles. You're going to get a top 10 pick, if not better. Probably win your division. Hell, for all I know, you guys might win the Super Bowl. If we do beat the Bucks, it does not guarantee us the division by any semblance of a fraction of a chance. But it still keeps us in, which means I still have hope, which is good, I think. But it's bad because I still have to be invested. And like I said like a couple weeks ago, at this point, because we're so bad, I just kind of want to be able to be like, all right, the Saints are playing. Fine. I hope we win. It makes me feel better. but let me just pay attention to games that are actually good and focus on, like, the storyline of this NFL season. But since we still have hope, I have to give a shit, which means it hurts when we play like ass on one side of the ball, if not all three. Ugh. I guess other NFL stuff to say. I guess some of, like, the big surprises for me this season. When I said I thought the Rams weren't going to make the playoffs, that was a bold prediction. And so right now, that looks like a freezing cold take. Holy crap. I thought they were going to stumble. I didn't think they were going to look this awful. We beat them. That's how bad they look, man. But, right now, I think if the season ended, which, I mean, doesn't really mean anything when teams have, like, 7 games left, the entire NFC East right now is in the playoffs. That's crazy. This is a division I thought was not going to be very good. You're going to have essentially a 2-team race between the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then the Giants were going to be good, but give you a little bit of hope, and Washington was going to be Washington. Whole division is like 7-4, 7-5 or so at the worst. Eagles have the best record in football. Dallas is right now the wild card team no one wants to play. They are still very much in play for the division. I mean, technically the whole team is. Or excuse me, the whole division is. The Giants have not played the Eagles yet, and I'm kind of hoping we get a firewater grass situation where the Cowboys have swept the Giants. I hope they sweep the Eagles, but then the Eagles sweep the Cowboys. Because that kind of shit is just really funny to me. It's like, alright, so everyone's beaten the other one twice, so who's really the best team here? I don't know. Like, who wins the division? And then Washington somehow is like, hey, they're beating the crap out of each other. We'll just win, I guess. Which, I want to be happy for Washington. But Dan Snyder, so no, I don't. But I'm not going to be a fan of the team. I am a Saints fan, even if I'm talking about other teams and, like, enjoying them and liking their stories and rooting for them. Not against my team. Very important I make that distinction. It's to feel a little more authentic if I was wearing my Saints shirt, but I'm wearing my OKC shirt because I'm still loyal to that team, even though we're bad, but SGA is a fucking monster, so we take those. We take those. Wish Chet was healthy, so it feels like kind of a wasted season. But it is what it is. Did not think the Packers were still going to look this bad. I thought, yes, there's going to be some growing pains. They're going to need time to get used to each other, but they're going to be fine. They look bad. But I mean, this is kind of the weird thing. Because even like some of their more recent losses, like against the Bills and against the Eagles, not like, whoa, they look bad. Because they've been in the games, they just can't finish. And there's times where, like, the defense is just getting gashed. But other times, I think it was, like, against the Bills. From what I remember, the defense was kind of holding up. Because I think they got, like, a few crucial turnovers and whatnot. And then here, against the Eagles, like, no, the Eagles just ran it down the field. And couldn't. I think Jalen Hurts had 100 yards in the first quarter on the ground. The Lions are still Lions. They're still a lot of fun, though. They're still in the playoff mix at 4-7 because what the fuck is a good football team, man? I mean, I guess, again, the NFC East, because they're all in the playoffs, they're all a few games above 500, but I guess we'll see what happens. The AFC East, that was another big surprise. It was like a week or two ago, all of them were technically in the playoffs, and right now it's everyone but the Patriots, but the Patriots are the first team out, so it's still very competitive there. Dolphins are leading the division. They look really good. Bills don't look as good as I thought they would. They've slipped, but I think they're still a good team. I do think they're going to beat the Dolphins in the rematch and take the division. I don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs, though. I really don't. I know, so there was a Jets fan who predicted their season via coin flip, like what happened to the Raiders last year. I think they were predicted to go 10-7, make the playoffs as a wild card. Was that as a wild card? I think it was as a wild card, and get to the conference championship and lose. However, they have now beaten the coin's prediction by beating the Bears when they were supposed to lose to the Bears. So who knows what's going to happen now? But even with the Raiders, they won some games that they were supposed to lose and lost some games that they were supposed to win, but still ultimately had the same record the coin predicted and still made the playoffs. So with that going on, I guess the Jets are making the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to go to the conference championship, though. I guess we'll see what happens. Giant robo. Thank you. That's more grr, but I don't know if I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. I feel like I had to have, but just in case I didn't, I watched Giant Robo, and I recommend that you watch Giant Robo. Giant Robo is essentially 2 movies, like a 3-hour movie and a 2.5-hour movie. The first 2.5 hours is a really fun Saturday morning cartoon with over-the-top powers, giant robots, a terrorist organization called the BF Group, which stands for Big Fire, which, A, sounds goofy as hell, and 2, sounds badass at the same time. So when their creed is everything for Big Fire, I'm like, okay, I'm giggling, but I think that also sounds kind of cool. And you've got people just like, there's literally a point where, like, the main power source gets screwed with because the villain's plan is like, we're going to get rid of the power and whatnot. And this dude's like, hold on a second, my body can be used as a battery. Give me those cables. So they put it on him. He just starts like generating electricity from his body. They're like, oh cool, now we have power. Thanks, dude. It's that kind of show. And it's like the soundtrack, phenomenal. I think the OST is incredible. The visuals, I think, are really, really, really good, except for when they're trying to give me a seizure. Because there was a lot of times, there's just a lot of, like, really quick flashing lights. And, like, this was clearly made before Electric Soldier Porygon. And I actually checked. I think it came out, like, 2, 3, 4 years before it, something like that. But it's like, yeah, because they don't do this shit anymore. But even while you're getting this fun but goofy Saturday morning cartoon, you can see the groundwork for a really interesting story. And as it's going on, I'm like, okay, this is pretty interesting. Oh, okay, we're learning some more stuff. Situation's a little more gray than I thought it was going to be. I'm invested. I want to see where this goes. By the last 10, 15 minutes, I realized I was watching a Shakespearean tragedy. And that last reveal, which if people have not seen it, I don't want to give it away. I know I'm always like, I'm going to talk about spoilers and whatnot, and this has been something that's been out for a really long time. But I don't know how many people have actually watched Giant Robot. I feel like it's one of those big cult classics where if you've seen it, you know it's great, but you really want other people to watch it. I guess kind of like Trails in the Sky. So if I'm doing like a specific thing about Giant Robo, I would go into spoilers, but since it's part of a car talk, I won't. Since I'm already talking about it, I don't think I'm going to do a full thing on Giant Robo. I will say my score of it, I would say it's a 9 out of 10. I would give it a 4.5 out of presentation because the seizure shit bugged me a lot. Like, you lose half a point for that, but it's so beautifully animated. Soundtrack is so good. I can't take off any more points. And narrative, I'd also give a 4.5. I think it's really, really good. It's really interesting. There's parts where it's just really slow, and sometimes the character just doesn't work all the way. But I think there's a lot of really good stuff here, and when it works, it's fantastic. And holy shit, that ending hurt. Like, I didn't cry, but it was just that, ooh, like that is a gut punch. Holy crap. Damn, this was good. And it was like the whole time I was watching it, I was waiting for that moment. I was like, this is really good. But I've heard that this whole thing is like a masterpiece. Is that just because of how like well animated it is, how good the music is? Because if that's the case, like it certainly earned that by like the start of the first episode. But if it's a narrative thing, I feel like we're close, but we haven't quite gotten there. Oh, we got there. We got there. Got it. Masterpiece. Agreed. Highly recommend it. Watch Giant Robo. I guess speaking of anime and transitioning into manga, I got caught up on My Hero. It's fine. I mean, it's like we've been in the final boss for a while. I haven't read it in like 4 months, and I feel like nothing really happened. I mean, I guess stuff happened, but yeah, how many chapters did I have to read? Like 15, 20, which is a good amount. But I'm like, yeah, we progressed through the fight a bit, I guess. It's fine. I feel like I'm reading it right now, and as I was just catching up. Not because, man, I love this, I gotta know what's gonna happen, and like, I've sunk a lot of time into this, and I do like it. Excuse me, if we're close to the ending, let me just see how it ends, but come on, can we just end already? Which, unfortunately, was how I was with the ending of Naruto. I got to a point, I don't even remember what part it was. I think it was around the time of, like, Danzo and all his, like, Izanamis, whatever the fuck. I was like, I'm just here to finish this at this point. I don't care. I'm sorry, guys. I stopped caring a while ago. But no, because I remember it was after it was like the Pain Jiraiya fight. I remember thinking, this is getting really good. I feel like we're getting close to a climax. I don't know, maybe another like 100 chapters or so. Boy, was I completely wrong. Because it's good, and then I felt like it just overstayed its welcome. And with all, like, the bullshit at the end, it's like, oh yeah, you guys are, like, the descendants of these two brothers who had the Renenina. That's not how it's pronounced, I just wanted to be stupid. But it's like, you guys have that thing, and that's why you guys are, like, destined to be friends and rivals and blah, blah, blah. Like, what is this shit? Who fucking cares? And then it's like, oh yeah, I am the main antagonist. Madara Uchiha. Actually, I'm the main antagonist because I'm actually Madara Uchiha. That's someone else that I was letting pretend to be me. Ha ha ha. Actually, I'm the main antagonist. I'm Zetsu. Remember me? I showed up a couple times, but I'm gonna summon Mom. And then Mom's like, I'm a god. I'm the main antagonist. Hello. I've never been brought up before, but here I am to kick your ass. And sure, dog. Just sure, dog. Man, I do not care for the ending of Naruto. I hope I like the ending of My Hero, but I'm just not invested in the climax. I caught up on a few chapters of Talentless Nana. It's been a few months. It updates monthly. And unlike My Hero, where I was like, yeah, I guess shit's happening. I'm just not getting invested. I'm like, oh wow, it took like 3 pages and I'm already back to being invested. I really like this series. Also, I feel like it's getting to an end game. I just really like it. I know that was a big thing I did this year, because I think I watched the anime with Clay at the end of 2021. I was like, okay, we just finished the show. And then from like December, whatever day it was, because I don't know, it was late in the year, until like New Year's Eve, I just binged the manga. So I really enjoy that one. I've been getting caught up on Dr. Stone, which is less of getting caught up and just more finishing it. Because I was reading Dr. Stone, I was caught up around the Corn City arc. And that was when I was reading Act Age, which I loved. I think like my buddy got me into it. He's like, yeah, like I think this is one that's going to be really popular. I think it's going to be getting an anime soon. It might be something to check out. So I read it. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is pretty interesting. And then the Island arc happened. I'm like, all right, I liked this. I'm getting into it. I'm having fun. Then the Night on the Galactic Railroad arc happened. I was like, this is fantastic. I am getting so invested. I think I cried during that arc. Not 100% sure, but I genuinely think I did. It was so good. And then there's kind of like these mini arcs in the middle. Like, oh, this one's fine, this one's fine. And I think the next big one is the Princess Iron fan, which was okay, and then it got fantastic. I have like so many reaction images on my phone. My favorite is the little girl cringing and she just says yikes. That is such a good reaction meme. Like, I freaking love this thing. And then the author turned out to be an absolute creep and the thing got canceled. And when that happened, after getting like really into it, super invested, it really broke my desire to read weekly manga, because like I feel like I've lost something. And I'm not like, oh no, like I get why it was canceled, and it's something like, yeah, I have no problem with the fact that they decided to do this. I just hate that the situation had to happen. But it was like, I was reading Dr. Stone. I was like, I don't really want to read weekly stuff anymore because this shit might happen. So, like, I stopped reading My Hero for a long time, Dr. Stone. I was still reading Ragnarok. I actually might have picked up Ragnarok after Act Age. I don't super remember. But I'm glad I'm getting back into Stone. I have like 20-something chapters left. Where I am, they just got to India, which sounds really weird to say about Dr. Stone. And it's not even like, oh yeah, in or out of context. Like, it makes less sense in context. Like, as with all like the shit I had read of it, I'm like, what? They can do that? Like, yeah, I just saw them get to America, but then I blinked. They were in South America. I blinked again, and then we were in India. Okay, I guess we could do that now. I think the pacing is a little too breakneck around this area. I definitely feel that. I think it's good. I still like it. I don't think I love it. At least I'm not loving this part of it. But I think it's still something that's worth checking out. When I finish it, I'm not exactly sure which manga I want to do next. One Piece is the big goal, but there's kind of some things I want to clean up first. Like getting caught up on some of these other ones, finishing Dr. Stone. Definitely interested in Spy Family. I watched the first core, and I loved it. I haven't seen any of the second core yet. I might just do that and then do the manga right after. I'm thinking about doing something similar with Chainsaw Man. I know people really like it. I haven't seen it, or I've seen one episode because my friends were watching it. I'm definitely interested in giving it a shot. And I know I've had some friends that really liked and recommended Dorohedoro. I think that's what it is. Dorohedoro, Dorohedoro, something like that. I want to give it a shot. It seems like it's pretty interesting. I know they really liked it. Then once all that's cleaned up, it's time for One Piece. Just around the time it'll be time for visual novels. Like, I know I want to start Fate. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but Fate Stay Night takes place late January, early February. So I think around like the end of January, early February, I'm going to start reading it. I really want to read Love Love the Day After. And oh boy, if Love Integrate comes out this year, or I guess technically next year, because we're still in 2022. But if it comes out in 2023 and it's available in English, that is a drop everything kind of game. I'm not even going to lie. That's in the same tier of a new Trails game just became available, a new mainline Persona, or a new Pokemon game. Arguably, I would put Danganronpa in there too. Like, if a Danganronpa 4 just drops on me, which I know there's a Danganronpa-ish coming out, like Rainmaker, Twilight Rain, some shit like that. I'm interested, but if it's a full-on Danganronpa 4, I have to get it and play it immediately. Oh, I do love me some Danganronpa 3. V3 is a trip, man. Easily one of my favorite games. I don't know if it's like in a top 10, but I loved V3. That ending was bonkers. The only other thing I was going to talk about that I have in my notes was the Mario movie, but I felt like I had just so much to say about it. It got its own video, so go watch that if you want to see what I think of the trailer and my theories about how the movie is going to go. I'm excited for it. I'm hyped for it. I hope it's good. Yeah, I'm just going to stop here before I just start reiterating my thoughts on that. This is already like a 30-minute video. But, that's it, so, bye.